Sure. All right, we'll go ahead and start back, and I see, Mr. Jernigan here, so if you go to your expense pages, page 24, we'll do the central dispatch before we move on to, recorder's office, maybe they can sweat a little more, before he has to report on the recorder's office. Page 24 in the expense reports. That is where central dispatch is. Good morning.
Morning.
Sorry if I jumped in front of you. I appreciate it.
That's okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm not moving, I'm here all day.
Not all day, just till 12. Okay. Just till 12.
All day.
Appreciate
Well, I'm here all day.
Well, yeah, you are.
Okay, so, I'd love to tell you there's a lot I'm asking for, but there's not. I've got basically the same budget that we've had for the past umpteen years. I can tell you 40 years for sure. We're a little short on employee staff, but we have opened the doors to receive applications for those. HR is receiving applications, so we're gonna fill those positions. The only thing, of course, that's gonna be a big drawback on our budget for central dispatch is going to be our maintenance contracts, especially for the radio system. The Motorola service agreement that changes every year. I know in this particular budget this year, our contract with Motorola is good until March of 2026. Of course, our budget period goes till June the 30th of 2026. So in March of 2026, there will be another contract signed, and at that time, there'll be additional fees for that monthly contract from March to June.
Which line item? It's gonna be line item
0.
56013.
Yeah.
And of course, I always just add 10% to that increase. Because when we sign a contract, well, when the mayor signs the contract, we sign the contract for Motorola. We signed it from 2022 to, from April of 2022 until March of 2026. That's their grace period.
And
for
this is
signing.
a system,
This is for the,
all talk to each other, fire.
yes, sir.
police,
This,
county.
yes, sir. When we got the $4.3 million radio system, we signed a contract at that time with Motorola to make sure that not only the system, both tower systems, south and north, and the repeater system at the police department, as well as my building, to make sure that those were monitored 24/7, and to make sure that the Motorola upgraded the radio system anytime there was a need for an upgrade, which they do on a regular basis, because I get electronic emails of what they're doing, the patching system and everything that they do to the radio system. It keeps it intact. Otherwise, there would be a huge fee that we would have to have put into the budget yearly.
For upgrade,
Sir?
for upgrade.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is going to maintain our digital radio system, which we did not have one before, so. It's a-
How many cents do you have?
Sir?
How many radios do you have, 10 cents?
Oh,
Or just,
for the entire city, I couldn't even begin to tell you that. No, sir.
How
Every department was supposed to maintain their own budget requirement for getting their handhelds or any mobiles in their vehicles.
It's in their capital request on the. This is just the maintenance contract.
This is for the infrastructure. I handle the infrastructure of the both tower sites and any of the maintenance agreements for the entire city. If their little handhelds, the batteries go bad, the antennas that are on their handhelds, if something happens to the mobiles, that's in our contract too, that they can, any of the departments within the city can go and get those replaced and fixed if need be. If we have to actually buy portables or mobiles, then we're under state contract through Motorola to get those. So there is a fee for those. But any maintenance, anything like that, that's in this contract that comes out of my budget.
The next to last item, 57525, what is that?
That is my SUG money. So. I know. That is a group of individuals of national known dispatchers and agencies that got together several years ago. They have since dissolved this funding. That's how I was able to get this money, is that directors of 911 centers, just dispatch centers in general could apply to get money giving to them. It's not a grant, it's just an award that you get for using this money for any type of continual education, training, expenses for your dispatchers. So there was 2 set years that I applied. I think the first year I got, what did I get the first year? 15,000. It came around another year. I applied again. We were able to get another 25,000 and that was it. Of course, that's not what I asked for. I asked for a considerable amount more, but they told me to back it down because they were dividing it with other agencies in the state since they were dissolving it. So I backed it back down to 1,000 apiece for every dispatcher to have for training. So that money is strictly used for our dispatchers only, and it's used for training right now.
And it's 39,000
Yes,
for
sir.
next year.
Yes, sir.
And what does this acronym mean? Say it for me.
SUG?
Yeah, what's the whole thing? It's got sugar, awa, expense. What is it saying?
Well, it's just, I don't know how it was
Sugar.
put in
Right.
under hours, but it's SUG. So, there's not an abbreviation for that, but that, rest of that is an award.
Okay, and
And I don't know what the EXP is for.
Expense.
It's
and the
expenses.
source of that one more time is from where?
It's just a group in the state of Tennessee that got together that had funding submitted in for awards for dispatch centers.
Okay, that's enough. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How many employees are you down?
Sorry.
How many
Pam?
employees are you down?
We're down 4.
4, and then what's
And
your
I have one
max
in
capacity? Like, how many are you full staffed?
Full staff, we're gonna have 24 dispatchers.
Okay.
I would have 25, but we're gonna have 24 unless I can get a bilingual. If I get a bilingual, then we'll have 25 dispatchers. We have 3 part-time that have went from full-time dispatching to other jobs, and they wanted to stay part-time, so they're staying part-time. And then 3 shift supervisors, which are actually working shift supervisors. They have dual duty. They have to do the supervisory duty plus dispatching as well. I have 2 state certified communication training officers that are actually dispatchers as well, so they fill in. So everybody has a dual role. And right now, we currently have 1 that is in training, looking to hire 4.
Is there anything else that your department really, that you feel you really need that's not included here?
Boy, Councilman Donnell, you should not have asked me that question. Sorry.
Remember
Can I
said
take the 5th?
Remember I said really need. That's what I said.
I know you did.
All right.
I probably heard that.
Yeah, well, I want to hear.
No, I don't think you really do.
Needs a building and we're working on that.
We are currently, there are several things that need to be focused upon for our dispatch center for the city of Jackson in the next several years. And for a prime example, last Friday, JEA did something within the city. It shut us completely down. I mean, the 911 lines were down. We were down for 21 minutes. 21 minutes, we were completely, utterly in the dark. I can't explain why. I have UPS backups. I have double UPS backups. I have a generator system. It never kicked on. Whatever happened within the city, it shut it down. I had to physically go out there and open up the cabinet and manually push the transfer switch to get it back on. Now, we did have portables, so we were able to communicate with the officers in the fire department. But us having a backup center somewhere, that works would be fantastic.
So the backup that you had when this occurred for those 21 minutes, it didn't work?
No, sir. No, sir, because it would have taken longer than that to set it up. The backup center that has actually been designed to assist not only my department as well as Madison County Dispatch and Madison County Fire Dispatch is located out at McCullough Field in the Madison County Fire Department Center. The 911 administration building has created a center out there. However, it does not have all the means for our dispatch center to go out there and operate.
So to rectify that problem, about, if you know, about how much would it cost to do that?
So Councilman, we're looking right now at conversations with Jackson Energy Authority on their former IT building, which is on the corner of College and Liberty. And so I'm having conversations with Monty Cooper in the next couple of weeks about what a low-cost lease would look like for us to occupy that building. It's set up, it's hardwired. Lenanda's looked at that building several times on the layout. It works well for central dispatch, and so we're just trying to get the terms, and then what the cost would be to move over all of those expensive pieces of equipment.
Which is a cost. You just can't go in there and pick it up and put it in a moving van and move it. You can't do that. But that would be, that's the second thing, is a permanent secure location building from what we're in. And that would be a huge plus.
So for those 21 minutes, how long ago was that? When did that happen?
Last week.
And during those 21 minutes, if anything had happened, you wouldn't have been able to contact whoever you would have needed to
The
contact?
only thing we had was radio contact. That's all we had. And cell
They
phones.
still do what you would need.
They couldn't receive calls,
We
911.
couldn't receive calls, but our calls were rolled over to another agency. They got the calls. So let me make it.
Calls weren't going unanswered, they were just rolled over.
We just,
Oh, that's why I wanted to get.
we just did not receive, we did not receive the calls within our building, but calls were rolled over to another agency.
Good morning.
Anything came in, it would come directly it would come to us from them via radio. And that's another reason why it's so important for us to get this radio system designed and developed for Madison County to come on board, because that would have been the only way of us being able to communicate with them would be through the radio system. They are coming on board. They're coming on our radio system.
So if the discussions with JEA is fruitful and all this gets worked out, then you would need to come back before the end of the next fiscal year for a budget amendment to cover the cost of that.
Yes, sir. Because none of that has been
Right.
The mayor has a projection cost and a roughly, very rough estimate cost of where we attempted to do this already.
Yeah, what was that amount?
It was over $1 million.
I mean, like 2 million, 3 million?
It was $1.3 million.
That was just for moving the equipment. That was nothing else.
So what else would be involved? What other expenses would be involved other than moving the equipment? The actual new equipment?
Modifying the building on the inside.
Wi-Fi, lease.
Right.
Furniture.
That's already there.
Yeah.
These are IT buildings, just modifying for their furniture and their setup.
And our departments can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you or the mayor knows, what would you estimate to be the ceiling for those expenses to get that done? Just, I'm not holding you to it, just the offhand estimate.
Everything that I asked for was like a generator. This building's going to be a 4-phase generator. The building that I'm in now is a 2-phase. So you've got to get one of those made. It'll take a good, they told me a year before I could even get a generator for that building. So this is not one of those moves where we just pick up and we move within 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And then you've got to tear down my consoles, all 7 of my consoles, radio consoles down there. You've got to take them down one at a time. That's not anything we can do. We would have to pay the company to come in to do
So
that.
all this stuff won't be done the next fiscal year then?
No, sir. I don't know, sir.
No, we can get the agreement in place and start planning for those costs for the next fiscal year.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, good morning. Do you know from JEA what happened? What caused this?
No, ma'am. They were even down themselves.
Okay, well, I'm in agreement when you need to look at this, or do we need to put funds into the budget? But, that would be something that is most important for our community. And 21 minutes could be scary in the lives of a lot of individuals. Thank you.
Yeah, we weren't down, it was covered. Another agency handled those calls, so I just.
Another agency was getting the,
Wanna make sure
we
that-
always roll over.
911 not
Good.
unanswered, it was
Yeah.
answered.
It just
All
is
right.
not coming directly to us, sorry.
Great, thank you.
Network.
I think you see there's a lot of support for that.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions for Central Dispatch?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next up is the Recorder's Office, Revenue Office, Accounting, and that'll be on page 7 of your expense report. Starts on page 7, goes to page 8, I think, all, yeah.
Is there anything in this budget that you really need? Was there anything in your office that you really need that's not reflected in this budget? That you really, really need, that's not reflected in the budget? Emphasis again on really, really.
When I spoke with Audit Committee some time ago, I did tell them that ideally we would have 2 more people in our accounting department. I had hoped to get 1 this year, but given our mandate to be conservative, we're gonna work with what we've got. The biggest resource that we have obviously is our people. It's not like I need radios, I don't need cars, I don't need those sorts of things, but that is something that I'll be looking at possibly in the next fiscal year, if we can swing that. But I think I don't want to add staff now. I mean, I would love to, but I don't think.
How many do you have now, including you?
There are 4, well, in the accounting department, there's 4.5. And then we have an employee that swings between revenue and accounting. And the accounting department is the one that's downstairs. And, of course, they handle all of the payroll, accounts payable, and reconciling all the different accounts that we have, just the general accounting duties day to day. And it would be helpful to have at least 1 more person there, but it would be very helpful. But
1 more person in accounting.
in accounting, which is on page 8.
All right.
But that's really all. We needed some scanners for revenue to integrate with the new system, but that was taken care of in this fiscal year because we had a little extra money that I told Larry I was going to buy me some scanners. I'm not going to get a printer because I found one. Okay, I found a printer.
What look, keep looking.
Well, I was looking for scanners and I couldn't find any, so we had to get some. And that's we don't have any great needs. We did add some travel and training to all of these departments. All of these folks can do some local training that will be helpful to them. And that accomplishes 2 things. It demonstrates to them that we think they're worth investing in that training. And it also will hopefully make them even better than they already are at their jobs.
I missed your answer. 4.5 in accounting.
Yes, sir.
How many other people in the recorder's office?
There are 4 in the recorder's office right now. There's a vacant position for a revenue compliance officer, which we desperately need.
It's in the budget.
It is in this budget, yes, sir. And then there are
Desperately need which?
a revenue compliance officer.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and Council,
Yes.
if we do have funds that we find, I would like to suggest that we use them in this department because we have seen how critical this is. We have seen how far we have come from last year, how much stride we are making with our Tyler Munis and everything. So I would like to put some faith in Nathan and impact his budget if at all possible. Thank you.
You made him smile.
Well, he's making us smile.
Well,
Of the
let's
great work he's doing.
dig
Thank-
into the conversation a bit further. I know previously, part of your tenure, that we did have some needed positions that remained open in accounting. Aside from your compliance officer positions you'd like to have, do you feel adequately staffed entering the 2026 budget year?
I do. There are, of course, I think anybody who's looking at the future of an organization like the one that we're in thinks, what can we do better? I mean, I hope we're all asking that question. Looking forward a couple of years, there are some things that I might like to do to restructure slightly, which would add another staff member, but that's not something that we are even prepared to do right now. But I mean, and I think when we get to that point, I can demonstrate the value of that. So.
The one person you have in the revenue, like the vacant position, that is budgeted in, correct?
Yeah, the revenue compliance officer is actually budgeted in the city recorder's office, and it's in there, yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, you could get that position filled and that would be helpful to you.
Well, that position will undertakes to make certain that the different licenses, fees, permits and all are taken care of, and it will literally pay for itself. And we're looking at some other things that person could do, but it's not going to replace an accountant who's doing that kind of work all day.
All
All right, any other questions for Recorder's Office, Revenue Office, Accounting?
All right, Nathan, don't go anywhere.
I was gonna say thank you, but no, I'm gonna. Next we have Human Resources, which is on page 8, starts at the bottom of page 8 and rolls over into page 9. Good morning. Questions for Human Resources?
How many are in your office?
Including myself, that's a total of 4.
Okay.
My same question.
I was about to say.
Is there anything that you feel that your office really needs that's not included in this budget?
No, I think we're okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
You are adequately staffed?
Yes.
Great. And how's your experience been working with HR now?
It's going well. Learning a lot. In regards to public, that's kind of been maybe the longest learning curve overall. Everything is running okay.
We're glad.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Kelsey.
Good morning.
In audit committee last 2 weeks ago, it came up that we might need to upgrade our handbook.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have all of the staffing or the money that you would need to be able to upgrade the city's policy and handbook?
Yes. So we're actually just relaunched our policy committee. So we a monthly review policies that may need amendments, things that we want to introduce that are new. So we're in the process of working through what it looks like and ensuring everything is accurate and up to date in best practice.
Good. Thank you.
The number of employees, is that an increase from last year?
No, it is the same amount. The salary line did decrease because there was budgeted for 2 HR directors at that time.
Yeah. And we will be getting job descriptions soon.
I have them for you.
Thank
If any other council member needs a long, I can definitely get you a printed copy also.
I want to say how much I appreciate that. That's what I want to say.
You have made it day.
You're absolutely. I'll tell you what, we're making progress. I the folks meeting the other day, I talked about how the gains been made, some of the cities. They have long ago, but the county went through that also. So they can margin. It is. I think you see it, you know.
Yeah, we came from scribing on tablets and scrolls.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's-
Copy at home.
Yeah, it's, okay, that's fine. Marquisha make some copies. Okay.
Or if
Or if you all don't want the paper copies, I'm sure we can probably.
Yes,
They'll-
I will send them electronically.
Scan that document, get you a zip file.
Okay, great.
Any other questions for human resources?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
Next up on page 9 is going to be purchasing. That's
Page 10.
bottom of page 9, rolls over to page 10.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is there any real desperate needs that, your office has that's not included in this budget?
No, sir.
Thank you. See how short his answer was, Mr. Nathan?
And the correct?
Wait, do you have job descriptions for Larry? I can get some.
I appreciate your attitude. You're always so pleasant and always appreciate it.
Same about you now.
But I was talking to Nathan. I was talking to Nathan.
Thank you, Chamber. Yeah, so my favorite thing about purchasing is they have cookies down there. My favorite time.
Good morning, Zach.
Hold on. Let's go back to the important. Y'all have cookies?
Well, we've learned in some of our meetings, people tend to be more agreeable if there's snacks. I even have a couple ADD toys down there.
Which are very useful.
Very useful. We have Bob Ross in the background.
We're gonna put you in charge of our meeting.
I think Councilmember Wallace has a question.
We're diverting you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, Zach. And it's really a comment. Zach, I want to say thank you for trying to educate council members because we do a better job when we understand the purchasing process and what all it goes through. So I want to say, let's continue that because we do better when we're educated, and I appreciate you trying to help council with that. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We'll keep going forward with it.
It was very helpful.
Perfect.
I do appreciate everything you do, Zach.
It'll be an ongoing effort.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all working with us as well.
Any other questions for Zach? All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next up is information technology. That's on page 10. I think this is the first department that we have with a capital request. And so what tab are our capital?
It's under the pink tab.
Pink tab? Okay, so we'll start operating, which is on page 10. If you have any questions, we'll move to the pink tab. And then that is on,
It's very near the front.
it's gonna be page 2, page 1, and you're under the pink tab. Oh, actually, physically page 2, mark page 1. How about that? Yeah, in the pink tab for the capital, but your operating budget's on page 10. Any questions on operating for Brian before we move on to capital questions?
Good morning, Brian. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. I just want to make sure that the IT in our chamber office and the council room, that it's going to be upgraded, but that is not going to have to be in next year's budget. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's not coming out of that.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I have a question, general question
Sure.
too. As we have meetings, how soon or can we have them live to where people can watch them live? Or how soon, if they're not live, we can get them on?
They are live.
Yes, all our.
Budget meeting?
Yes, even this is being streamed on Facebook Live. All meetings are. For the regular council meetings, JA is also here, so it's simulcast on their channel. And then usually by end of day, they're available online for people who weren't able to look at them live.
So every meeting that we have in here is live on Facebook Live. And then once, in the last meeting, the last work session agenda meeting we had in there was live. And then once, especially in every meeting going forward, our work session and pre-agenda will be live, especially once, it'll be a better quality once we get the equipment in there. But those are all live. So every meeting that you all have here is streamed live and then also archived for review later on too.
Yes, they're all available.
And Frank, that's what we're going to upgrade. That's what they're upgrading now. That won't have to be in next year's budget. So we'll be able to use that, as Mr. Mayor said.
How many employees do we have currently?
6, including myself. And all of them are awesome.
Is it all of them are awesome?
Except,
Oh, no, never mind.
including yourself.
That mic can get cut off now.
Sir, is there any, critical need in your office that's, not reflected in the budget that's submitted?
No, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any questions on operating, and then we'll move on to physical page 2, page 1, capital budget in the pink tab. And you see, it says information systems, which is the third blue line down.
I'm sorry, will you repeat that again?
Yeah, so we're on, so in the pink tab, it's,
Yeah, very last.
yeah, very last tab, it's the physical page 2, but it's marked page 1.
All right.
And then, so the third blue line down, it says total county, total, I don't know, capital outlay revenue, information systems, and it says equipment, that has it all listed out, and so a lot of words there.
I can run through these if you'd like, quickly, just to give you an overview. The first capital item was $220,000. That would be for, what we estimate to be 100 new PCs. Again, we are, up against, Windows is deprecating Windows 10. Will no longer be issuing security updates, so we are attempting to make sure we have, everything in compliance by October, when that will go into effect. We believe that through this and through retooling some of the older PCs, we'll be there and we'll be in compliance. If we have these, the $250,000 was for part of a Dell server project to consolidate some of our servers. I will say there is a lot of uncertainty on cost. Everything IT purchases is subject to tariffs generally right now because of the countries where those items originate. So the price has been fluctuating quite a bit. So we may hold off a little bit on buying those, hoping for more favorable. We met with Dell last week, and the cost had temporarily skyrocketed. I'm hoping that will change at some point during next fiscal year, but those are where we got that number from.
This is the skyrocketed price? No.
No, this is not, this was the price that we were originally given several months ago when we submitted the budget. And obviously, just so many components are coming from China and other places that there's uncertainty with them, and they're passing that on to us. So we're obviously going to wait to spend that money until we can get the maximum out of it, but there is some uncertainty there. The $350,000 was for, and that is an estimate for the Civic Center to outfit them with security cameras. I've been working with Zach, and he's done an incredible job of us trying to standardize and make sure we have security cameras all throughout city facilities to protect the public. And the Civic Center obviously is a huge building. It has a very minimal number of security cameras, which don't adequately cover the building. And so this would obviously be bid out just like the other ones would be, but this would be to modernize that, to make sure it's covered, the parking lot areas are covered. And I view cameras as an insurance policy in many ways, to have a camera in a building. If someone is hurt, if something happens, we've been able to standardize these through other buildings, and it's worked out really well. So that would be our next big project. After that, and I think next fiscal, I have the fairgrounds would be the next biggest one. We got the Sportsplex done, which was great. And that's been an asset as well. $2,000, that's just to update the wireless infrastructure for this building. Wireless is always changing protocols, getting faster, getting better, and more people have wireless devices. So that's just a small infrastructure change. $25,000 is for the NVRs at City Hall. We have 46 cameras in this building. The NVRs are 7 years old. And we've had drives failing on them. They're outside of, they're no longer supported by the manufacturer. So this would be to bring that back online and make sure we have plenty of storage in case we need to review footage for any reason. We have $50,000 for network devices. Like anything with technology, continually those have to be upgraded for the wired and the wireless network. We budget about that same amount every year. Marcus takes a lot of time to go through and look at what the oldest items are, which ones are most utilized, and we swap those out to keep them going and prevent failures. And we have $3,000 for the front desk. That's the officer out here. The PC we have that runs the 8 monitors so he can see what's going on in the building and provide security is 6 years old and just needs to be replaced. It's just getting to where it's on all the time, and we want to make sure that's reliable for him to be able to have that.
Brian, a question about your capital, and I guess more specific to the cameras, but also servers. I know y'all can install like the workstation and stuff like that, but is your team actually installing the cameras, the servers?
The servers, yes. Our team installs, the servers are in this building. Now, the cameras for the larger buildings are bid out. Those all go to sealed bid, and we've had 3 different vendors win those over the past year. So yeah, that we can do small things, but when it comes to like a large scale, like we do with Animal Care Center, especially where you have door locks and all those kind of stuff, we bid that out as a turnkey package.
And that's included in the capital request?
Yes, that's my estimate for what our bids would come in for the Civic Center, to have somebody come in and fully set it up like it needs to be and to provide a camera system adequate for that size facility.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Brian.
Morning.
When you are addressing and talking about the fairgrounds and the Civic Center, when we have outside organizations that rent those, the one thing that we always hear is they need better service for the internet when they have live auction items and they have people phoning in. Is in any of those improvements going to be part of that to upgrade the Civic Center and the fairgrounds with that capability?
Yeah, that would be covered under the $50,000 for network equipment. Like I said, constantly in some events where they have a lot of people in there, it's a density thing, and as time goes on, we can buy newer equipment that allows more density per access point and allows more people to connect to it. But that would be spent out of that $50,000 for network equipment upgrades.
Thank you.
All right, here's the questions for Brian on
Let
information.
me ask this while I'm thinking about it.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of places in my district particularly where I call them recurring dump sites.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any cameras available that could be utilized in those recurring sites to catch some of these folks?
Well, we have 12 right now that we're rotating around. We don't have any spares. They're pretty expensive and specialized because they have to be outdoor rated. We can certainly purchase more of them. What we're trying to do now is obviously we'll catch some people. Once that it's known that site is surveilled, we'll get another site and we'll have that camera moved. But we don't have any spares. We have 12 we can move around.
Okay, I'm not a hunter or outdoorsman like that, but I've seen where these sporting goods stores have cameras. Could those type cameras be utilized to catch folks illegally dumping?
They could. We have one of like a game camera, what you're talking about, when we were having issues with graffiti at Cypress Grove, and they were coming in through the woods. So they were going around the cameras we had in the parking lot and things like that. Those are options. One of the reasons we go with the cameras we have is the resolution allows for license plate recognition. Because a lot of times you won't get a good look necessarily at the person, but we certainly could deploy lower cost game cameras for situations like that.
About how much, if you know, do those type cameras cost?
I think a one-time cost for the camera might be around $100. It depends on whether or not you want it to have cellular connectivity. The bonus of cellular connectivity is if the individual sees the camera and they smash it or take it, the footage is lost if you don't have cellular because it's all being recorded locally on an SD card. If you have cellular, it will send that picture. And then your cellular cost could be $100 a year probably. It wouldn't be too bad because you're limited to how many pictures you can send on most of them.
Would you mind looking into that?
Sure.
To determine how much it would cost to say I'm just gonna throw a figure out here and say 10 cameras.
Okay.
10 cameras with that cellular ability that you were talking about.
Sure.
About how much they would cost and get that to me and other council members that might be interested.
Absolutely.
Within the next, say, 20 days?
Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. It was sooner than that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other questions for Brian?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up is risk management, and that's going to be on page 10, bottom of page 10, going to page 11, and then got employee benefits line items that are on page 6. Page 6 and 10. We have Stacy Stone here is our risk management director.
For the risk management budget, I wasn't having any only one change that I was requesting, under professional service, which is 56015.
Say that again.
Which item is it?
56015, it's listed last, I believe.
On page 11.
Yeah, go, starts at the bottom of page 10, going to page 11 on
You
each.
look at it, page 11.
Yeah, on professional services. Currently, under that is our benefits consultant that I use, to help with all the medical, dental, vision stuff. But I would like to see about, doing a request for proposals or qualifications for an agent or broker to assist with consulting on property and liability. We insure a lot of property across the city, about $288 million, in buildings and parks and that kind of thing. So of course, those expenses go up. We just had a reappraisal, in February. Yes, sorry. Is that better? So anyway, as those costs continue to increase, I think it would be helpful to have a consultant that I could easily reach out to that would help with analysis every year and maybe find some different alternatives on mitigation and costs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remind me, are we self-insured?
No.
Okay.
We are a member of Public Entity Partners, which is a risk pool for a lot of Tennessee municipalities. So that's really my only additional request.
Larry gave you an interest, Councilman Lawrence gave you an interesting look. We're self-insured for health insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
We got a.
There's reinsurance, right?
How many employees in this department?
4, including me.
Is there any other critical need that your office has that's not reflected in this budget?
Not currently.
When you say currently, will it, does that cover?
I can see the need for another staff person in the future. I think we can make it, with what we've got right now, and actually, I don't even really have space. But we're very busy on this. Everybody has their own individual roles, and it's nonstop, every day something different. So we could definitely use another person, maybe next year, hopefully. So
You need that person this fiscal year?
we can name it. We'll make it. We've been doing, we can keep going. I've been using ChatGPT for a little help. They're kind of my personal assistant right now, so.
Is there special credentialing because of
No, just kind of an office. We would really like to toward paperless. We drown in paper. And so I could use some assistance there, but it's not critical.
In a couple of sentences, what is the purpose of risk management? That's such a broad term.
Okay, well, risk management, what we do is we try to look out for the city, reduce risk in different ways. Safety for employees, the liabilities that we have out there, within the city itself. We're a little bit unique, in our risk management department because we also have the employee.
Might as well give up on her. He's already pulled the mic closer and now I can't hear her, so I'm not even going to ask a question.
Marty, you're not muted.
I was right then, but I cannot hear. So if she could mic a little bit closer to her, please.
Okay. Is that better, Marta?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we also handle the employee benefits in the risk management department. So we're a little bit unique compared to some other cities in that way. So employee benefits, employee safety, also property and liability claims. So when a citizen has something happen, potholes, for example, a lot of times, well, all the time, those calls come to our office. Anything else that somebody falls at a city facility, that comes through our office. So our goal is to try to look out for the employees, look out for the citizens and the city as a whole, and try to reduce risk where we can.
So
You had 50,000 asked earlier was for consulting type basis, right?
I'm sorry?
How effective is our insurance company? I'm assuming they come down periodically and go over everything with you, or do?
I can request that they do, but we are direct with them. We don't have an agent
agent. And for a municipality our size and our schedule, they would usually recommend that. And we just have never done that before, but I think that it could be beneficial in multiple areas. I don't have the type of software and reporting available that I need to really do a deep dive into all of our multiple lines of coverage.
So will they partnership with you and come?
Yes, they will provide assistance. I can ask them, they have lots of things available, but also they are limited in what they can provide. Sometimes I just need somebody that I can run something by and like, hey, what do you think about this? They are hesitant on giving definitive answers sometimes because they don't want to take on that risk.
Any other questions? I know we got benefits on page 6 of expenses. Any questions on those?
Before we leave this, one quick question, not you answer now. I'd like to see a list of all our insurance sometime.
It's pretty simple.
Yes, okay, well, good.
Break it, fix it.
Good morning. I'm not going to give up on her. I've got a question. You had mentioned, can you all hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning, and I'm not going to give up on you. I've got my question now. You had mentioned that you would like to either hire someone, and then you also mentioned the fact that maybe using an outside consultant. Could you look into those two figures and see if it would be beneficial to actually have someone, an additional person for next year's budget, and if that would take care of that consulting need or would maybe lower that cost some?
Well, they would really be two completely different roles. We can make do without the office person. We're fine on that. It's not critical. The consultant would need to be a professional person, like an insurance agent, that can consult on the property and liability insurance that we do have.
Do you currently have any funds placed in the budget for that?
I have that, just an estimate on what I think that we might can get, for consulting. I have that listed, yes, in the professional service line.
I think that's really good, because anytime that we can do a better job, like we mentioned about city court, I think if that would help you, that would be really advantageous for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for risk management? Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
And moving on to planning, growth, and development. So we'll do planning, start there, is on page 27 of your expense sheets.
I've never had a problem being heard, so Marty, you should hear me fine.
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you.
Yeah, someone, just turn me off, yeah. I believe that.
So start with planning. So like I said, planning's on 27, bottom of 27 rolls over a little bit into 28. So questions for Mr. Pilot?
How many people do you have in your department?
We have 8, 6 full-time, 2 part-time.
Thus your budget is down in salary.
Yes, because we had a full-time staff person that's gone part-time. She has one small child and fixing to have another small child, so she's gone part-time. So she's really an asset to our department, and so we're allowing her to go part-time so she can take care of her family and also help us.
Dan?
Critical need in your department that's not reflected in this budget.
The only thing that's been mentioned before that's not in the budget, and the reason why is because, we, in the past, we haven't really wanted to put just placeholders awaiting an event. And that's with our large format plotter. We serve the plotter needs for the entire city. It's a large format plotter scanner, and it's 10 years old, and it's starting to have a few issues, but it's still going. So we could put a placeholder out there and just wait for it to go. But what we've done in the past is just continue to use it till it stops working, and then we just basically then request the money to purchase a new one.
How much does it cost?
About 13,000 is about the area of the last one.
And what's the approximate useful life of it?
About 10 years, sometimes longer. It just depends. We have had multiple ones over time, and HP Products is usually the product that we use. It's been giving us good service, so we usually get 10 to 12 years out of it. So again, we just don't like putting money out there that may not be spent. But again, that's up to the U.S. City Council whether to put a placeholder out there, because it could go another 2 years.
How old is it now?
10.
So it's not been so critical, because if it was really critical, you would have it in this budget.
That's right. I mean, we don't like putting it in there if it's if it was on its last leg, we would, but it's still going, and as long as it does, it's just giving us a few issues from time to time, but we're able to resolve them and keep going. So.
Thank you.
Dan,
Yes, ma'am.
good morning. Your department, with the growth of our city, seems like it is the one with the need for the growth. So you said you lost one person that went part-time, was that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so you still feel like you're adequately staffed and have all you need for the next year?
We are, we're doing well with what we have now, and also since we, reformed our development services, the planning, growth, and development, we sort of did away with the separation lines between our departments, and we cross-use employees within the departments. We are assisting the building department and some of the code enforcement actions and some of the sign code stuff. So we're hoping to continue that. We're hoping to make some changes to our sign code over the next few months. Move it back under in more of a zoning frame than being in a building code frame, and we feel like since we're doing a lot of that now, we feel like that will be beneficial because signage is something that we have a lot to deal with, and so we're wanting to make some changes and to make some improvements, and you'll see that over the next few months. So. But yes, we're doing well. If across the planning, growth, and development, engineering is where we're, if anything, we're, and Amanda will speak to that. We're a little bit thin on our inspectors. We have shown, and Chris Coughlin, who came on board, he has proven time and time again, if inspectors are critical to getting good product. So when we're out there and inspecting these streets and these subdivisions, if we're out there, we get better products and better performance. So I'll let Amanda speak to that. But again, overall, we're doing well. Everyone's working hard, doing the things that make our city look better, perform better, and also to grow.
Any additional questions for planning before we move on to engineering? All right, Amanda, you want to come on up? Stand so here. I'll move over. Okay, there you go. Engineering starts on page 24 and then rolls on over to page 25.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is there any critical need in your department that's not reflected in this budget that's been submitted?
Besides another inspector, no, sir.
So then an inspector is critical?
Yes, it's highly critical, especially right now.
Why didn't you put it in here?
It's actually a position that we had a secretary. That position we didn't refill. There was a position for an assistant engineer, and we didn't fill that position either. So we have a few positions that never really got, filled by anyone else. And we've been running okay. It's really until this last repaving project started that, we're really needing another inspector, so.
All right, so do you need to revise what's been submitted to include that inspector?
I don't believe so. It's still rolled over in the same budget. Like, how long ago did we get rid of that?
Well, we have, with associate engineer, we pulled that position down and so
The money's there.
The money is there.
Yeah, the money's
Yeah,
there.
it's,
You got-
nobody's filled the position.
You got the spots, you probably need to go back and relabel them.
yes, yeah, we need an inspector a whole lot more than we need an assistant engineer right now.
Right, right. So there's nothing that needs to change. It's just a need. And not in what I presented to you. There's
So
no.
I may have stepped out for a moment. I may have missed something. So tell me the difference between an inspector and an engineer.
The associate engineer slot.
One word.
The associate engineer was basically a PE level engineer. It was to provide help on the engineering side of things, more reviews. But that position, it was kind of, it was a mismatch. The salary level that was associated with it and the requirements they were looking for in that position were a mismatch. And so that position stayed out there for like a year and a half with no takers. So we just basically said that we would, I talked to Kelsey about this, and we basically took that position down because we felt like if we had an engineering need, we're going to have to do something in terms of an adjustment to that position to attract an engineer because the engineering level salary that they were requesting was below what a lot of engineers just coming out of college make. I mean, it's just engineers are, they drive a high premium because they're just, you just don't have, especially on the civil side of things. And so, we're hoping in the future we'll look at that again. But this year we feel like the need is in our inspector area because, again, if contractors, we have good contractors. Not taking anything away from contractors, but you need an inspector out there because they just help you see things and get better performance when they're out there.
Yeah, and the inspector's position isn't so much of it's slightly technical, but mainly they're following specifications that have already been set out in, our process and procedures. So what they would be doing is just going over a checklist of what they're actually performing out in the construction field, and then reporting back. And then, of course, we just hold the contractor accountable for what they're doing. So they're mainly like the eyes, making sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's, we're out there. And we're paying for a good quality product.
We are, and we have an opportunity. We have someone that we're looking at that has experience in inspection, and we're hoping that they'll be interested in coming because we need someone that can hit the ground running. We don't really have time to train someone. We want somebody that's been doing this type of inspection, looking at stormwater, looking at roads, streets, those things. So again, it's a position that pays for itself because you get a better product that lasts longer and you don't have the maintenance costs.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Morning.
I just want to also stand behind the fact about the inspectors. When we met with builders probably 3 to 4 years ago, that was the main thing that they said that was slowing them up and we've done a better job with that to make sure the inspectors can also do plumbing, electrical, other things than just one. So I really want to stand behind that because your and Stan's department is the one that should be having the most growth. So I think we definitely need to get behind that. And if the inspector is the one that we need the most, let's go to work on that. Because what we're going to be paying in outside firms, if there is some cost, it would be better to have them in-house. Thank you.
Stan, could you give me a 10-second update on state inspectors, county inspectors, and city inspectors and the relationship?
Well, again, I think Marta was mentioning a little bit about building inspectors, and Greg will be talking about that next in terms of those inspectors. This is more of your
Stormwater,
your construction inspector that, as subdivision streets are built, as infrastructure for subdivisions are put in, somebody has to be there to make sure that they're following our regulations, that they're building it to the right standard, and that it's being performed well.
Is that why the city has some complaints because construction, I know on sinkholes, when people blame the city, when it's probably the developer that had
Well, it can, over the life of infrastructure, because you gotta remember that infrastructure, once it's built, it stays with us forever. Some of the infrastructure that we're using in the downtown area was put in place, years and years and years ago. So, and it's a combination of things. One, it's just maintenance. I mean, things break down over time, and so maintenance is sometimes responsible for that. Sometimes it's weather. It's a lot of, but some of it's corrugated metal pipes that were the standard. 40 years ago, all of our stormwater pipes were corrugated metal, so we're starting to see them starting to fail now. But the other thing is, we are seeing some failures in some of our subdivision streets, and we feel like that's a direct tie to performance and what the developer did at the time it was put in. And we've got one subdivision where they used a sort of a questionable base material that hasn't held up, and it's allowed the street to fall apart. And so I'm not saying that everything that fails is poor performance, but we have seen some issues in streets where maybe the street was not, the base was not, it was still moving underneath the pavement at the time. There are a lot of causes for why things fail, but we do know that if we have someone out there that we will having eyes on what's being done, that we get a better product because we got somebody making sure that it's the right thickness, making sure it's formed well. If we see any deficiencies, we take care of it right there instead of waiting down the road.
What about?
And Amanda?
Out north, I've just noticed that, well, I've gotten phone calls of people who in their backyard out north where it's not Midtown or South Jackson's been there for 100 years, and they have sinkholes developing. That's a developer problem?
Well, we see two or three different failures. We've had some storm drainage pipes fail that are related to the stormwater for the subdivision, where someone basically put a fence in and drove the post through the pipe. And so you get a hole, it starts deteriorating, and so sometimes you see that. Sometimes bands will come loose over time, and the pipe will separate, and then the water starts undermining the pipe, and we see some of that. Sometimes it's just the age of a pipe. It's put in, and it just starts to fail over time. So there's a lot of things that can happen, and we're trying our best to our stormwater assessment that's being done now is looking at the condition of things and determining which pipes need maintenance and need something done to them. So I think we'll have the information that we need to make better decisions on what needs to be fixed and what needs to be changed, and so I think things will get better. But again, we have to make a distinction between subdivision infrastructure and right-of-way infrastructure, streets and roads, and that's mainly our responsibility, in the street, the stormwater, and where it leaves the right-of-way. It's sort of a transitional area, and we go a little bit beyond that. But then once you get into the subdivision, that's all subdivision drainage.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, I encourage council to send you the link for the Federal Clean Water Act.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to, on what is public and what is private responsibility.
Mr. Chairman?
For what's
Hello?
Martin?
Yes, sir. Good morning again. Stan and Amanda, I want to go back to the inspectors, what you all were talking about earlier. Amanda, I remember that, I know you've done a lot of that work. I would like to really see us follow when a contractor comes in for development, what Stan was just talking about, for us to actually really check that, know that it's been done to the best of their ability before we lose that 1 year when it's still the contractor or the developer's responsibility for the roads. Also, when it's turned over to the city, I would like for us to make the developer be responsible for educating that subdivision what the problems will be if they put up a fence in their backyard, if they are impeding the flow of water. Because our real estate agents they're not aware of it. So I feel like that's another educational proponent or little area that we could help with. Because it's our responsibility, I think, in engineering and planning that we sign off on those streets if they're good. But then also there's some things that we're missing, like when that street goes to city, what we're not responsible for. And that could be from just fences and things being put up in their backyards, and that will result in sinkholes. Thank you.
And Marta, we are doing that. We've been to the realty community and talked to real estate about zoning and different things because, again, zoning affects a lot of things when it comes to property, and the real estate community really needed some information because a lot of them weren't aware of things that affect property. And it's the same way with subdivisions. We try to educate people because people don't understand what homeowners associations are responsible for. And a lot of times when people buy property, that doesn't get explained to them. So we try to do that when possible.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Currently, we sign off before a subdivision can be quote released. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we have 1 year liability. Is that?
The developer, once you accept streets, then they're responsible for the maintenance of that for a year after that.
Okay. Will we need to increase that to 2 or 3 years to make sure?
I know in some rare cases where we have issues, we have extended our warranty periods.
I think we're getting off track here, though. That's not a budget.
Yeah.
We're trying to.
Yeah, that's more regulatory.
Right.
And I don't know that you could, it's again, what is the magical number? The best thing to do is to make sure they follow our regs and they build it to the proper specifications and they build it well. That's about all.
Let's do this. Great point, Councilman Stovall. Let's set up a time, like maybe outside of a work session where council can come and we can talk about all of this from engineering, planning, codes, building, and we can just kind of brainstorm, talk, questions on how we can improve processes and improve those things, which is great points.
Yes.
I think we can set the time that we can just focus just on that piece.
Because it's a broad, it's got a lot of facets to it, and I know y'all have a lot of questions, and we could.
And I want Councilmember Wallace, I want to look her in the eyes. Look in the eyes.
Yeah, and I know y'all have a lot of questions and concerns, and we do need to talk about those things.
Sure. Thank you.
I just want to stand behind those inspectors. So thank you, Stan and Amanda.
You're welcome.
Amanda, would you stick around? I want to ask you something after we finish.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, any more budget questions for engineering? If not, thank you, Amanda, and we'll call up last, but certainly not least. Building and codes, Rick. And Bill, that is on page 28 in your expenses.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
We have between our two departments, we have 18 employees. We have a pretty flat budget. This year, I have increased travel and training, and you'll see a line item for code books that I have increased.
Sir, is there anything in your budget that in your office that's critically needed that's not shown on this budget?
No, sir.
You have all the inspectors you need?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any cameras in your department?
We're about to fund them from another department, by the way.
Here we go again.
We don't.
Okay. I wanted to ask you this, and since we budget wise, do the inspectors, if they see the yard that's need to be cleaned up or whatever grass needs to be cut, do they have the authority to go to knock on the door and leave like a citation or something like that. And if they don't have that authority, would you like to have that type of authority where they can, like a traffic ticket, they could give a ticket and says this will be a $50 fine or whatever, and this is paid. Would you like to have that authority if you don't already have it?
Yeah, and we try to get things done, especially like with a phone call, or if somebody's there. Car notices, we do leave them on the car, so they do have a physical notice. But I think our code, our ordinance says that we have to notify them in writing of the violation.
I think this is a great question, and we'll include, because that all comes under planning, growth, and development, and we have Greg there, Amanda there, and Stan there to talk about ways we can improve process. I think it's an important conversation to have, and you all don't know how much I appreciate the input that you all are giving on this. That helps us out a whole lot.
I want to add, do you have enough people
Yes.
as inspectors or to deal with problem properties?
Yes.
And the slowdown is getting them through the court system?
Yeah, we've made just this week, we've made internal office changes to speed up that process, to get letters out quicker, to get people notified quicker. And then when that time's up, then we take action.
And we will continue to look at ways to increase that efficiency. And those are things that we'd like to talk about in this session because, there are tools that we could utilize that would help that even more.
So what we'll do is we'll get you all there, council there, we'll get Teresa and or Lewis there so we can, because we may have ideas that legal may frown upon. So we want to make sure we're going to implement the right things. So we'll get everyone there and so we can have that discussion. I think it's a great, again, I want to extend my appreciation to council for wanting to enter into that discussion. I think it's important.
Thank you all.
Any budgetary questions for Greg?
I want to thank Greg for always answering my call when I get frustrated.
I was gonna say the same thing, like you are always on point and I do appreciate like your response and time, so you do a great job.
That's why I can't get nothing done. Everybody else got you.
I was gonna say, he answers their calls, he don't answer my calls.
He does.
He got every call. He does a great job, though. I think everybody calls him. Right.
Stan, you do a wonderful job too.
Me and Stan get busted all the time.
Yeah. All right, I think that runs us out through today. So we'll pick back up tomorrow at 9 o'clock and with the other half of our department. So thank you all. Council members have some questions for department heads that are budget related, so I'll stay around and answer those questions.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, quick.